All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Easily
My Life.
No, you have to whisper the my life.
All right.
So after 3, 1, 2, 3.
Easily My Life.
All right, guys. Welcome to Easily My Life. The last time we were here on Story Time, we basically shared how we met. This time around, we'll be sharing with you the loss of our first child, baby Ruth Rachel Reynolds. It's been a while, you know what I mean? We lost Ruth in 2008, and of course, it's 2020.
Yeah.
And I believe in recent time, I saw either an article or a video or something of John Legend losing a child. I'm not sure if it's with his wife or his baby mother, I'm not sure. But they lost a child. It just took me back to the time, in terms of when we just got married. In less than a year, we lost a child, and how...
And you took me back.
I'm going to take you back too.
You take me back.
Right, But this is it, God has healed us, and it shows that even losing a child, God can bring you back. And of course, we have had 2 children after that. So, yeah. So I want to share that story with you tonight. So where do we start? You want me to start it?
Yeah.
Like when baby Shama about to say you want me to start it, or you want you start it?
No, you're the camera talker. You know that. So.
All right. Let me start it and then you pick up. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, Donette and I, we got married in 2007. And then sometime later in that year, if you calculate what the 9 months would have been for Ruth to be born January, she was originally scheduled to be born in February, but she got pregnant in that same year of our marriage. And of course, I'm expecting my first child into this world. And of course, you have big expectations in terms of just daydreaming what your baby going to look like and all of these things. And of course, it was a great excitement when we found out that Donette was pregnant.
Yes.
And yeah, man, we were looking forward to it. And, it was going to be a first-time dad. So of course, so you broadcast it to the whole world. You tell your mother, you tell your father, you tell your friends. Everywhere you say, yo, Chrissy pregnant, Chrissy pregnant. Wow. Because this is just the joy of a man who is looking forward, to having his children. And it was a special moment for me. So of course, the pregnancy are going and, they were together, loving up on each other, still young in marriage, and being there for Donette as the belly grow and everything. And it was a wonderful time. We went to the doctor, did the checkups and stuff.
Everything was good. I think I remember in Christmas when I was walking on the street when we were going to the plazas. That was when I felt different. Right.
In the Christmas season, I remember I asked to lie down in the van for a bit.
Yeah, I was walking too much in that season.
Right. And so about in the 7th month, I don't think you were even feeling any pain. What we did, we had a regular doctor visit that we went to.
Yeah, man, regular doctor visit. They did the ultrasound. It was good. I don't know. The shift came when I guess I was on my feet too much.
Right. Now let me tell you what happened. When we went to the doctor visit, right, when they checked your pressure was out of whack.
Oh.
And they had you at high risk at the time already.
Okay.
Right, and because the pressure was out of whack, they were saying, you have to go to the hospital right this moment. So of course, we were going to have the baby at Andrew's hospital, private, all of these things and stuff. And because of the emergency, we ended up at KPH. You want to tell us? Because I remember you was telling me that you had a dream about Mary and stuff. You're the dreamer.
Yes, I am the dreamer, but I didn't dream about Mary.
Oh, just yet?
No, just yet. Okay, so while being pregnant, I remember I love to really acknowledge the times when God comes in and speaks to us. And I remember one night I was just listening to a song. And that worship song brought me to the crucifixion, and in my vision, it was almost, I felt how Mary felt about Jesus dying on that cross. And I wept that night, and I was saying to God, what are you saying to me? Because immediately it was transferred to me. I was saying, wow, Mary. Nobody thought about how Mary felt, because of course Jesus was known as God's son, right? And so we think that it would just blow it over, but Mary went through chaos. She went through hell, because I felt it that day and I cried. And in that crying, I heard the Lord whisper to me. He said, I'm going to give you a manger experience.
Wow.
And of course, I didn't understand quite well. So I ran to you, Ryan, and I said, Ryan, well, I just heard God said He's going to give me a manger experience. And He just showed me how Mary felt about Jesus dying on that cross. And I was crying. And I said, you know what? We are signed up at Andrew's Hospital. That's a little bit costly. But then I'm saying to him, I wonder if God is saying that we must go to a less expensive hospital. That's what I was saying.
Right. I remember that.
And I was excited about it, because then we won't have to spend 150,000, right?
At the time.
So I remember I went to sleep that night, and in that time of sleeping, I woke up with this great pain came over my body. I was filled with pain. I cry out, I wake up, I ask Ryan. I remember I woke up and I was saying to you, Ryan, I can't.
Okay, so that's how it went. So you had that experience and the whole pain started. We went to the doctor, and that's when we found out that the pressure was sky high.
Right.
Okay, good. We're on track. So the long and short of it, he said that you had to get to KPH hospital like no. I think we had to run home, pack a bag, take it down to KPH, because they said that they had to get this baby out immediately.
Right.
The term that they used for what Chrissy was experiencing was called preeclampsia. It was the first time I was hearing this term, preeclampsia. And it's very sad, but I lost a friend in New York, because of preeclampsia. She was having a baby, and because she was experiencing the preeclampsia, the baby lived, but she died.
Wow.
And in some cases, I don't want to call the name, but I have a friend in New York that died through preeclampsia. And the thing about it was that when you read up about preeclampsia, in most cases, the baby dies or the mother dies.
Right,
Somebody normally dies in most cases, right? And sometimes both do die, and so that's what Chrissy was experiencing. So they said that they had to take out the baby right now. I think the toughest part for me at the time was that you had to do this operation, and as a father, I could not be nowhere near my wife. That was tough. I had to be outside. I couldn't do nothing but to sit and wait. That's all I had to do. I couldn't do nothing but to sit and wait. But I was on the outside. What was going through your mind? What was it that you were experiencing on the inside of the hospital with those doctors at the time?
Well, they put me in the waiting room, and there were a lot of doctors around the bed explaining to me that this is a crucial time and it's crucial situation, and that they need to take the baby from me. And as usual, trust me, I was adamant. I'm not giving you my baby because I don't understand. God never tell me this. I know I was a bit scared, right? And I remember I hesitated long, and the doctors went out of the room, and I was just lying down there and said, thank God I just run them out of the room. But then I remember my bishop at the time, I spoke to my bishop, and I said to her, she called me on the phone, I said to her, the doctors want me to take the baby. And she said to me, darn it, let go, give up the baby. And I remember when I said to the nurse, get the doctors. And the nurse run for the doctors. I mean, I don't think she ran far enough, because as she ran out, they were just waiting outside. Everybody came in, and they just started to wheel me out of the place. And in 2 twos, I was into this operating room, and they took the baby. They said, listen, if we don't take this baby, we'll be taking the both of you to Madden, which is the
we call it dead house. That's what we call it, right?
Right. So that was it. They took the baby, and I was broken about. I was really broken.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't. Speaking about it, no, it kind of a little bit blur.
Right.
And there's so much I could say, because before all of that started, I remember I was on the ward. They were preparing me, to. Oh no, you see, sorry about that.
No man,
guess what?
There's no sorry about no man. We have not relived this in a long time. So
when they took the baby, of course, I was on the ward feeling, you delivered your baby now, so you're waiting. So you're in your bed, and I got up out of the bed, and I'm in the ward from the top to the bottom. There was fire upon me. I was speaking to everybody about Jesus. I mean, I was witnessing like crazy, and I was telling them about my baby that is downstairs, and I have the faith. And listen, even if they take the baby, as long as I have the Lord, I was fire. I mean, people giving their lives to the Lord. I'm not even exaggerating, And
this would have been after
they have the baby.
Right.
So I was just confident that I was going to see this baby again, and I just let go and just started to witness. And of course, it's the power of God that allows you to do that, right? And I remember when night came, I was saying, "Can I see the baby, nurse?" I asked the nurse, "Can I see the baby?" And she said, "No, I can't see the baby because it's they want me to stay upstairs." And I got very firm with her, and I said, "No, I need to see my baby." So I said, "Listen, get me a wheelchair," and she didn't go, and I just run around her, get a wheelchair, and I did ask somebody to push me, and I did go and see that little baby.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember you were with me, right?
No man, I was not with you.
You didn't see the baby?
No, I didn't see.
Incubator?
Not at the time, because they still would not have let me in. So I'm going to tell you where I was. When that happened, I was at home because I could not do anything.
Oh, you was at home?
Yeah, I was at home. So what I did, after they said that, and I was out there for hours, and of course it was a long day already, I decided to go home and just pray and leave it in God's hands. Because I remember church members at the time were offering to stay with me, and I said, "No man, I'm good. I don't know where I found the strength from, but I just know say alright, I can stay by myself. I'm going to pray and leave this in God's hands." So what actually happened is that I came back early the morning, and I came and I saw you on the ward. I still didn't see the baby yet. I think it was sometime after I got the opportunity to go and see the baby. And guys, it was like how should I put it now? It was a experience I never expected, because Ruth was born premature. So of course, having your first child, you're thinking about a big bouncing baby. This is the only way I can describe it. Ruth was like a little chihuahua. Yeah, right? If you know Chihuahua is like one of the smallest when it comes to the dog family. And to me, Ruth was just so small. Like, I say, wow. And then when they had the Pampers on her in the incubator, that's how you really know such a small, because you see this newborn Pampers on Ruth, and it was so big. It was so big. And the thing about it was that because Ruth was born premature, and because of the preeclampsia and everything, she had some challenges to breathe. So this is where a whole new level, or a whole new can of worms, as they would say, would have opened up, where she needed a ventilator, because she needed to do a surgery, and she needed a ventilator. And that's when I started to, that's when I first time I heard the word ventilator. The first time I knew what a ventilator was, I'm being totally honest. And I remember we just know that we had to get a ventilator so the baby could breathe. So they had one by Children's Hospital, which is the only child hospital basically in Jamaica, and could be in the Caribbean, right? And but there was a baby on that machine, right? And they had about 3 at the University of the West Indies, and I think only 2 were in operation, and they were also occupied. So that took me now as a father to a whole new level of extreme, using who I was in society, a gospel artist that has been on the radio, the television countless times. And I went to the radio, went to the television, And I had to put it out there that this is what is happening and I need a ventilator. Like I was up and down, need a ventilator, because then they could not do the operation because while doing the operation, they needed that ventilator to breathe for Ruth, right? And then it was probably about a day, within 24 hours, we got a call from Children's Hospital that a space for the ventilator had opened up. And you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate, but the baby on that ventilator had passed. So just imagine, a baby had to pass for Ruth to even get that ventilator. So when that opened up, they transferred Ruth from the KPH hospital to Children's Hospital. And I remember going up to Children's Hospital and just looking at Ruth. And guys, let me tell you something, and let me just say this. It's when it comes to being a doctor and nurse, you can't do them job just for the money. You have to do those jobs because you genuinely love and care for people and want to take care of people's health. Because I'm telling you, they wanted to get a blood sample from Ruth. I mean, I tell you, boy, I stand up from afar off, and when I see the nurse done rough up the little baby boy, and the little baby coming like she already lifeless because she could not find a vein to pull the blood. I mean, I tell you, a piece of anger rise inside of me. And, you know, I'd have to hold it, but it just hurt me because me I say, boy, the baby already fragile. And you see the nurse I kiss her teeth like I can't get a platelet or whatever it was. I don't know the term.
You know, luckily I was
down on the other side. Right? And so because they were basically preparing her for the surgery. And so I was back and forth between hospital looking for Donnet and checking up on Ruth. And the times that I could not see them based on how visiting times were scheduled, I was in the studio. I remember I was in the studio one day and the producer said to me, "You sure you want for there?" So I tell him, "No man, I'm off for there, so because this is the only way I can keep a free mind. When I hospital time, I have to go hospital, but I have to be here." So long and short of it, I was the one up and down. I was on the phone with Donnet, giving her the updates, what is happening and stuff. And Ruth went into operation on day 3, right? Right, she went into operation on day 3, and this was like the best news after she did the operation, because when they were doing the operation, I left again and I went to the studio because there's nothing I could do. So I just went to the studio just to chill, because in that time I was making the Tabernacle album with songs like Right With You and all of these songs. And I remember when I got the call from Children's to say that, "Mr. Reynolds, the operation is done and it was successful." I was like, yes. I'm gonna call Donnet. I'm say, "Donnet, them just called, the operation is done," and then said successful, because at this point we weren't thinking death. That's just the truth. I was believing God that this baby was going to live, right?
And you know, at that time, as I say, the story kind of
go ahead, man. Just start.
And it was at that time when you gave me that good news that I started to put on the preaching. I was in there feeling so overjoyed and just talking about, you know, the Lord and just all the blessings and everything, right? So that kind of built up my spirit in the hospital. That
would have lifted our spirits. That's just the truth. Man, it would have lifted our spirits.
I mean, trust me, if you ever saw me in that ward that day. But as I think back again, as I thought back, when I went to sleep with a nice, happy feeling, you know, because, as you said, we didn't think of death, right?
All right, so watch this now. So you went to bed feeling all high energy, like, yeah, man, good news and stuff.
And joy of the Lord is my strength. That was the talk. The joy of the Lord is my strength.
Right. And then this happened. So when the operation was successful, right? About 3 hours after, or could be less, everything went downhill. I got a call again and said, "Mr. Reynolds, you have to come in to the hospital now." So of course I rushed down by the hospital now, and basically they were saying like the baby is going in and out, and they were trying to resuscitate her, right, and stuff, and the whole works. And then a little bit after that, then called me in a room and they said, "Mr. Reynolds, we have lost the baby."
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, but
they said, yeah, they said that we have lost the baby. And then, trust me, I remember holding Ruth in my arms, you know, when they asked if I wanted to see her, and I said yes. And I had little Ruth in my arm, and I tell you guys, a piece of wailing come out of me. I don't know, we would call it cow bawling. A piece of bawling come out of me, I tell you. And it wasn't for long, you know. And the moment I release that, it's like I know that, okay, I'm going to have to be strong for doing it now, you know. So here the hard part. The hard part was holding Ruth in my hand, lifeless. And I know at that time of the night, I could not tell Dawn this because, yeah, it would be she one down by the hospital with this news. So I know so I could not tell her. And I remember that night I went home, I just grabbed some clothes and I slept by my parents' house right beside my father. I slept beside my father that night. And then I called everybody I knew that was very close to us. I called Auntie Monica, the Bishop McPherson, all those that were very close to us. I called him and said, guys, we lost the baby. I have not said it to Chris yet, but we're going to go down there early for the visit, break it, and then, yeah, we'll just take it from there. And I remember the morning when I went down to the hospital, I ran up ahead of everybody and I said, Dee, we'll lose the baby. And I can remember when Dee said, where say a while ago? I said, Dee, Ruth gone. And she said, wait a minute. And then of course, you know, so her around and crying start. And that's when everybody else would step in at the time, now that came there to support you.
Yes.
And I remember you were very strong, like you want to see the baby, because you need to tell this, because I remember you were saying you want to see the baby, I want to see the baby, because you feel like if you see that baby and lay your hands on her, she go get up back.
True.
I remember that. What was the feeling?
I remember clearly the morning that I woke up, feeling happy, and then all of a sudden I saw this lineup of persons coming into the room. The bishop, my bishop at the time, Bishop McPherson. I saw my friends. I saw a lot of the church folks. You know, and you know, it's almost like after you gave me the news, they just came in after to support me, right? And of course I weep and everything. And yes, I wanted to see the baby. And did they carry me down to see the baby?
Because
Okay.
you couldn't leave, because remember the state you were in. You were not supposed to be going
I did
anywhere.
C-section, right? I did a
Not just a C-section. It is C-section, but remember, because of the preeclampsia too and your pressure, your pressure was the main thing. So your pressure still was not stabilized. So you were not supposed to be going anywhere, doing anything. Okay,
so what happened after was that I think the bishop asked for me to be transferred to
Natal.
To Joseph.
Is Natal?
Joseph Hospital, St. Joseph Hospital. I remember I was in the hospital.
No, but it's not St. Joseph.
Natal?
It's Natal.
Why?
I remember.
After you get the C-section, then all those.
It's Natal. I was right there near the crossroads.
Okay.
I remember.
So I went to Natal,
and
I was into this nice.
Right. So we shift you from the environment of KPH because the baby not down there anymore. You weren't handling it well, and we thought that one of the best thing to do was to shift the environment. So we shifted to Natal. Right.
Okay, right. I remember that room. It was a private hospital.
Right.
I was in a nice enclosed area room. I mean, more comfortable than where I was at the hospital down the road, right?
And at that time you were still crying like you want to see the baby.
Never stopped
No,
crying.
like you want to see the baby, like I want to see her. I want to see her, because again, you had this strong notion that if you see this baby, you can raise this baby back to life.
Well, I mean, that is what the Holy Spirit was always, ministering to me, I remember I was alone and I got a visitation. My friend, Christine, her name is Christine Haber, the Tina's Haber, the CHMI minister right now. She came in and she spent some time in there with me. And I mean, she, I was weeping and she spoke to me, prayed for me. She took up all the clothes that I wore and said she's going to get them clean for me, and bring them back. And when she left, I was in that room and the only thing I could have done is to go on my knees. Because when you're going through trials like that, you find that God comes so close to you.
Right. Agreed.
You know, there's the room got very silent. And I said to God, I went on my knees and I said to Jesus, I said, Lord, my God, you know, you give it life and you take it life. I won't complain. But, you know, and I trust you. But all I'm asking you, Lord, I said, God, please deliver me from this pain. I said, God, I don't have Ruth. I mean, I know her for 7 months to 8 months. And I said, Lord, I miss her, but I know you know her. I think I knew her, but you know her more than I do.
Right.
And I said, God, I don't have Ruth, but I still have you. I mean, I had to make a decision, and I was going to stay there and let the how I was feeling tear me down, or I was going to fight and fight for God. I said, God, I don't have Ruth, but as long as I have you. I said, God, but I want to come out of the hospital. Take me to the hospital where the baby is, to children. And I'm not lying, everyone, I'm not lying. I heard you whisper and he said, my child, the faith that you have in me will raise this child. But my purpose now is to take her home.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Good. And that was when I bawled into that room. I wept. I know I was swollen. My face, I was so swollen. I wept but I felt the peace in my heart and I went to sleep because he spoke to me. He spoke to me. I recognized that it was his plan to take her back. Right? Mm-hmm.
Right. So, Ruth passed after 3 days, and it was very rough for us. Chrissy spent a little while in Nuttall, and then when she went from there, she went straight to the bishop's house for a little while, just to take her out of the environment of the house too, because remember, that's where she should have been spending most of her time, being pregnant with Ruth. And we did a funeral for Ruth, very private, but we buried her well, so that was good for us, and
I must say too, I just love to show up God in areas like this. The day of the funeral, they wanted to, we had a choice to either cremate Ruth or bury her. And just like between the bishop and us, we decided
let me tell you, Bishop McPherson was really a tower of strength for us in that time. And she really guided us a whole lot in saying, no man, bury the baby and stuff, so Ruth got a good sent off. And I remember the rain fell that day too. You can't talk about that because it meant a lot to you.
This place was sunny, scorching hot. And when they sealed that grave, that coffin into the ground, a rain just fell like a storm just comes suddenly. And after they finished sealing with the cement and seal the grave, the rain just stopped and the sun came out back.
Right. And let me just say quickly, for Chrissy, the rain means a lot because it's very significant to her.
Yes, it is.
Because the day that he got baptized, rainfall. The day he got married, rainfall.
The day I got filled, rainfall.
The day I got filled with the Holy Spirit, rainfall. And of course,
not just normal rain, I'm not saying that.
Right, rain that just comes out of the blue. So it's like somewhat of a confirmation for her. So it means a lot to her. So when rain almost washed out her wedding, it was a big thing to her. You understand?
And even the graduation, rain.
And graduation, rainfall.
Remember?
And rainfall when she graduated from Bible school. Yeah. So we gave Ruth a good sent off.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, I was working on the album and I wrote the song called Weep. And if you can always go and type in Ryan Mark Weep and you'll see that song.
You hear the story.
You hear the story. Like that's the literal story of basically what happened. But what is always a blessing to me is that in that song, in the last verse, I started to give God thanks because the word of God says give thanks in everything. And I said, God, I give you thanks for the 3 days I saw Ruth living because I never had to see her at all. I said, God, I give you thanks, because within those 3 days I saw her hands, I saw her feet moving. I said, I give you thanks for the one time she opened her right eye. Because when Ruth was in the incubator, it's my first child. I don't know nothing about baby, but her eyes never open. I said, why this baby eye now open like? And I remember the moment I thought it, Ruth's right eye opened, looking at me like for a good 2 seconds and then close back. Excuse me. And I said, God, thank you. you know, and that song has blessed so many people, because you're saying, how could you go through something like this and give thanks? The truth about it is that God has blessed me with so many good things, and when God has blessed me, I never yet ask him, why am I blessed me? And this was the one tragic thing that would have happened to me, you know, at the time. So I say, I never gonna ask God why either. So you see us here today, you know, God has been good to us. It was a good learning experience. We are so delivered and well. I think even this year we said, you won't even remember say Ruth's birthday gone. You know, and it's not that we don't care, but we really just give back Ruth in God's hands, and we have moved on with our lives. God has blessed us with Sarah, and God has blessed us with Daniel. And Daniel is a whole different story too. And in short order, we'll share Daniel's story with you, because Daniel was born with some challenges, still going through some challenges, but we'll tell you about it. But this is just our life. You know, when you get married, these are not things that you choose, because if we could have chosen them, who would choose to lose their first child? But it happens, and the greatest thing is that when you face situations like these, you just have to go straight back to the cross, straight back to Jesus Christ, and give it to him, because he knows all things. And truth be told is that we can identify with people who are going through a similar thing, because if you don't go through it, in most cases, you can't help people who are going through. They have to have something to identify with, and God has given us something that we can identify with others and also help others who are going through, you know, similar situations. So, you know, in it all, guys, we just gave it back to God, even though it was so hard. And Chrissy would put it this way, because as we would have shared on the how we met, that, you know what I mean, we never really spent a lot of time with each other. And when Ruth died, we were almost a year in marriage, and what it did, it pulled us closer, because
we had something in common.
We had something in common now, you know. So it really, it's like we were married before, but this kind of solidified the marriage for us, because we had a big event that was not the most favorable event, that allowed us to look to God. And the more we look to God, as Chrissy would say, it's like a triangle. So it's like, I'm on the right, Chrissy's on the left, like you see it now, and we're going up to God. And what it does, it creates this perfect triangle of us meeting, because we are both channeling into God. You know, so for those who have lost a child, just be encouraged. You know, for those who have lost a loved one, be encouraged. Know that God is for you. Know that God is on your side. He will never leave you nor forsake you. That's his word. That's his word. And if you trust him, trust me, the pain that you're feeling, that you believe that you're not sure when it can go, he can take it just like that. And remember, mourning is also a process. It's not something that you have to rush either. You can take your time and mourn. Nothing is wrong with that. You just can't live there forever. So that's it for me. I'm not sure if you have anything in closing.
There was something that I really wanted to say. Remember earlier I mentioned that God says he was going to give me a manger experience.
Right.
Okay, so we didn't understand it at that time. But when I went to stay at the bishop's house, I remember I was watching TBN, and the pastor was preaching. He said, God will give you a manger experience, which is confirmation for me to try to understand what he was saying.
Right.
And he said that Jesus was born in a manger. His purpose was born to die. So the manger experience was saying that Ruth's purpose was just to be born for a few, I don't know, a few days, 3 days, and then she was to be taken back. And that too got me to release a lot of pain that I felt, because God came in and spoke back to me. And the point is that I learned what I learned in Revelation, in this experience. Like when I said to God once, I said, God, why me? He says, why not you? When I prepared you, my vessel, who else can I use if it is not you? So God will always prepare us to use us for his glory. We say it all the time. And another pointer is that he uses us to fulfill his purpose, because he is spirit. He is a spirit, and if God is going to correct me and he can't touch me with his hands, he has to use me. He has to use us in ways so as to test us. In other words, I always say God used us to strengthen our love for him, because the deliverance didn't come until I said to God, Lord, Ruth came after me, but she has gone before me. And said, I said to God, and the deliverance didn't come yet, it's when I said to God, God, I love you. And you know what? I don't have Ruth. But you know what? As long as I have you, God, everything is good. When I said that, it's almost like the sky opened and God was clapping, and he was saying, well done, my child. And in all my trials that I go through, until I say to God, God, as long as I have you, it changes everything. And I'm saying to God, you look as if we go through trials to strengthen this love for you, because until I said, God, as long as I have you, there's a shift. There's a shift.
Amen.
And so I just want to tell God, thank you, sweet Jesus, thank you, Holy Spirit, for taking us through the trials, all of us on earth, because you love us. You're bringing us close, because you're God, you're supernatural, and it's the only way you can hit earth, you can touch us, you can express yourself through us by using us to bring forth your own glory. So take your glory, Lord. We just thank you for this time.
Amen. And I just want to wrap it up by saying this, in anything that you're going through in life, try to see God in it. And one of the things I saw in this situation was that, Ruth died, and that was very unfortunate, but Chrissy lived. And I would put it this way, I said that, we can always have another baby or two, but not another Chrissy D. You understand? So, and I've lived, is that lyrics not true? Right, and and truth be told, we have lived to see that, because God has blessed us with 2 more after Ruth, but see that one Chrissy D is still there. So guys, I trust you are blessed by this story. Of course, it's been a long time since we have spoken about this in any way, shape, or form, but nonetheless, it's a part of our history, and we wanted to share it with you so that it can be a blessing to you and be a blessing to others. So I just want to tell you guys, hold on, let me talk to my wife and Siri there. I want to come say something. Siri, just ease yourself, right?
I don't like that Siri,
Siri, not sure.
No, because
Siri, I'm going to put you out.
when they talk, she tell
All right, guys. So, thank you for watching, and remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Right? God bless you, and this has been Easily My Life. Bye-bye.
Right.
You get it right, I feel.